Tonight on CTV3 News, government presses the pause button on the controversial SpeedNet acquisition talks to ensure transparency and protect public interest. Opposition boycotts historic House session as supporters rally outside in protest over the telemedia deal at a national level. Belize breaks ground with historic passage of occupational safety and health bill to modernize workplace protection. And here in the north of the country, we head to the South constituency where the electrification project powers the community of Indian Church. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Friday, February 6th, 2026.
Marasmi, my data and I really need to get my ARA out today.
Really? Well, you can join our smart group plan.
Really? How that work?
Easy, let me tell you.
Whether it's family, friends, or your small business, we've got the perfect plan for every group. More members equals more savings, more connections. Smart group plans bring the connectivity you love to you and your circle. No one gets left behind. Explore Share One package option and add on unlimited data, calls, and SMS for the entire group for less than $50 per member. Visit any smart showroom countrywide or email sales@speednet-wireless.com to sign up today. Smart, bringing people together.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails. Paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
ExpressNet now has up to 400 megabytes of high-speed internet. Choose the speed that fits you, from faster browsing to faster gaming. Connect more devices at once, or bundle it with Express Plus and HBO Max. Internet and streaming entertainment, all in one.
Yeah, faster starts here.
Sign up today at any Centaur office or contact us to get started.
Marriage is an important life event that must be recorded at the Civil Registry Department and Vital Statistics Unit. Only the following persons are authorized to record a marriage: marriage officer, groom or bride, someone authorized by the bride or groom. What documents you'll need to record a marriage within 1 year of that marriage: the bride's and groom's ID, a proof of marriage form, and marriage register issued by the marriage officer. If recording a marriage is on behalf of someone, authorization form is needed and downloadable from the VSU's website. Only the following IDs are accepted: for Belizeans, Social Security card or passport; for foreigners, passport or national ID. The new CRVS, digitally connecting citizens to all vital statistics services. Visit crvs.gov.bz today to record your marriage.
Good evening. With your newscast, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7, I am Jaden Gamis. The House of Representatives convened today for its first working session of the new year, marking a historic moment as the sitting was held in the newly renovated National Assembly building. Proceedings, however, departed from custom as the session began later than scheduled. Prime Minister John Briceño was delayed due to an important prior commitment earlier in the morning, contributing to the late start. Despite the national importance of the agenda, particularly the scheduled second reading of the Occupational Safety and Health OSH bill and expected debate on the matter, The meeting was significantly shortened due to the absence of opposition members who chose to boycott today's session as part of its ongoing protest action against the proposed acquisition of SpeedNet by Belize Telemedia Limited, or BTL. While UDP members did not attend the House sitting and no opposition-led protest was held in front of the National Assembly, there was activity outside the building. Supporters gathered at the foot of the Assembly, though the turnout consisted largely of People's United Party, PUP supporters, who came out in support of the government and the presentation of two key pieces of legislation. Among the bills brought forward during today's sitting were the National Health Insurance Authority Bill 2026 and the second reading of the OSH Bill, both of which the government has described as critical to national development and the strengthening of public services.
Historically, as I said, the People's United Party's DNA is based on social justice, and today we have two very important bills. The first is the the NHI, National Health Insurance, something that started under Said Musa way back in his first government, and today we introduced the bill to be able to enact it as an authority to remove it from Social Security, and also to make the point or to the announcement that I think it's on the 12th of this month, we're going to be signing contracts both in Belmopan and in San Ignacio for all the clinics that are going to be offering NHI services in the Kaya district, approximately 80,000 people. That's historic. It's important.
And amid growing public concern and controversy over the proposed acquisition of SpeedNet Smart by Belize Telemedia Limited, BTL, the government of Belize announced today that it will pause all negotiations regarding the deal, a move that has been welcomed by many Belizeans who oppose the deal. Speaking in the House of Representatives today, Minister of Public Utilities Michael Chabat explained that the decision to pause the process was taken on the instruction of Prime Minister John Briceño. According to the minister, the pause is intended to allow for broader public engagement and to ensure that all legal and regulatory procedures are properly followed. Chabat emphasized that any acquisition of this magnitude must first be reviewed by the Public Utilities Commission, the PUC, the independent regulatory body responsible for overseeing the telecommunications sector. He stressed that no final decision can be made without the Commission's assessment and approval. The minister further noted that, regardless of whether the acquisition ultimately proceeds, the PUC has already initiated an independent review to determine whether BTL holds a dominant position in the market. If necessary, the regulator is prepared to introduce new rules and safeguards aimed at protecting consumers and ensuring fair competition.
Given the level of public interest and the importance of the telecommunications sector to our economy, it is important that this process proceeds carefully, transparently, and in accordance with the law. The Prime Minister has instructed that there be a pause in discussions related to this matter. This pause is intended to allow the parties involved to further engage the public in a genuine, open, and cordial way, and to ensure that the proper regulatory process is followed. Any proposed acquisition of this nature must first be reviewed by the Public Utilities Commission, which is the independent body mandated to regulate the telecommunications sector. The expectation is that a formal submission of the proposed acquisition will be made to the Public Utilities Commission if and when the boards of the Social Security Board and the Belize Telemedia Limited approve the acquisition, allowing the PUC to consult thoroughly, deliberate on the pros and cons, and make a determination based on evidence law, and the public interest. Even if this proposed acquisition does not proceed, the PUC has already begun an independent process to determine if BTL is a dominant player in the market and is prepared to make attendant regulations to govern such a scenario to ensure that consumers are fully protected. Our role is not to preempt or substitute the work of the regulator, but to respect and uphold the integrity of the regulatory framework. Issues such as competition, consumer choices, service quality, pricing, and long-term sector sustainability, among other factors, must be carefully examined. The people of Belize must be the ultimate beneficiaries.
According to the Prime Minister, the pause will provide an opportunity for transparency and informed decision-making as discussions continue on the future of Belize's telecommunications sector.
What has been happening is that I think that they put the cart ahead of the horse, that the PUC needs to get involved. The PUC, for instance, when BL wants to buy an equipment that costs $30 million, for instance, and they want to make certain expansions, and they want to increase rates, they have to go to the PUC, and the PUC would then take a hard look at what they're doing, look at the numbers, and see if it is correct, if it works or not. And so the same thing applies to telecommunications. And so it is then the minister felt it's only right now that, put everything on hold. There's just been a lot of misinformation from both sides. So he felt that the best thing to do right now is for the PUC to step in and to take a look at what BTL is proposing, and then to see if it is something that is in the best interest of the country. And then they could make a recommendation as to the way forward.
The Occupational Safety and Health OSH Bill of 2025 was passed by the House of Representatives today as its second and third readings, marking a major milestone in strengthening workplace protections for workers across Belize. The bill seeks to establish a National Occupational Safety and Health Advisory Committee and a National Occupational Safety and Health Inspectorate, aimed at improving standards for occupational safety and health for workers and other persons at work. It also outlines the duties and obligations of employers, workers, self-employed persons, manufacturers, suppliers, installers, inspectors, and other stakeholders. Once enacted, the legislation will repeal the outdated Factories Act, replacing it with a modern and comprehensive framework for workplace safety. Although debate was expected on the bill, discussions was limited to the government side due to the absence of opposition members from the sitting. Government representatives used the opportunity to voice strong support for what they described as a historic piece of legislation 17 years in the making. Prime Minister Briceño, speaking in support of the bill, said he was proud to be a part of the government that will pass such an important law, emphasizing that the legislation represents a significant step forward for the protection and well-being of all workers in Belize.
17 long years. It is under the Musa administration we introduced the bill, and there was a lot of pushback, especially from the private sector. If I can remember, it was a bill that was too far-reaching, and it would have been very difficult to be able to implement. And so we started that discussion. But once the UDP came into government, they had no interest in looking after the well-being of labor. We, Madam Speaker, we are looking after the interests of labor. Just imagine, we are not going to agree at all the time, between us and labor, but just last year, this government approved an increase for the government workers that's worth $112 million, Madam Speaker. $112 million. And today, we are debating and we're going to pass the Occupational Safety and Health Bill, something that they have been clamoring for all these long years. We cannot continue to treat our workers the way we have in the past. How many times have you been seeing people on the roof, working on the roof, not even on a rope or anything to be able to hold them? And when they fall down and they slip, too bad, so sad, they go to Social Security and the employer they're never held responsible for what they're doing. Or if a worker were to be able to say, you know what, boss, I can't do this because it is dangerous, I could get hurt. And what the boss tell you? Go home. They fire you and the employee can't do nothing. This bill is a comprehensive bill, Madam Speaker, and it covers, and my colleagues have covered certain sections of it. But what I like about this is on part 6, where it talks about prohibitions against reprisals and related activities. It protects the workers to be able to complain and to be able to tell them, I can't do that because this is dangerous. This is what this bill is doing, Madam Speaker. It is a historic bill. And I am so proud to be a part of this government that today we are going to pass the Occupational Safety and Health Bill, and to once again to prove to this country that the People's United Party is the party of social justice. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I fully support this bill.
Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Kevin Bernard, also spoke in favor of the bill, first expressing disappointment at the absence of the opposition during what he described as an important and historic moment for the Belizean people.
I must make this comment that I find it deeply disappointing that on the second reading of such an important and long overdue piece of legislation, a bill that directly protects the lives, health, and safety of Belizean workers, the opposition chose boycott over responsibility. Right. One has to ask, does the leader of the opposition and the UDP truly care about Belizean worker?
Absolutely not.
Because if they did, Madam Speaker, they would be here in this House today, debating, contributing, and standing up for the very people this Occupational Safety and Health Bill is designed to protect. Madam Speaker, leadership is not about absence. Leadership is about showing up, and that is what this PUP government is doing today. Instead of boycotting, Madam Speaker, they should have come into this chamber and shown the Belizean people whether they genuinely support safe workplaces, stronger protections, and better standards for our workers.
Minister Bernard noted that the new OSH framework is expected to address long-standing public health issues linked to unsafe and unhealthy working conditions.
At its core, this legislation recognizes something simple but powerful, that safe work is a public health issue, an economic issue, and a human rights issue. For far too long, Madam Speaker, our legal framework has relied on an outdated Factories Act that focuses narrowly on traditional manufacturing. But Belize today is different. Our economy has expanded into agriculture, construction, healthcare, maritime services, tourism, and many emerging sectors. Our laws must evolve with that reality. This bill introduces a modern, comprehensive framework that applies across all workplaces and emphasizes prevention, risk management, and shared responsibility. From a health perspective, Madam Speaker, the need is clear. Every workplace injury, every chemical exposure, every untreated ergonomic strain, every mental health stressor, these are not abstract issues. They show up in our clinics, our hospitals, and our national health system. They affect families. They affect productivity. They increase healthcare costs. And they place avoidable burdens on our public services. Prevention, Madam Speaker, is always better and cheaper than treatment. This bill moves us decisively in that direction.
Adding her support, Minister of Human Development, the Honorable Thea Garcia Ramirez, highlighted the bill's role in strengthening human rights protections. She also underscored its importance in advancing gender perspectives, particularly in safeguarding vulnerable groups in the workplace.
Madam Speaker, this bill mandates practical life-saving measures we know are needed. It requires, as has been said, risk assessment, safety training, and personally, the provision that most called my attention is the provision of personal protective equipment. It also provides protections against falls and machinery hazards because those are among the most common causes of workplace injury. Madam Speaker, from a human development perspective, these protections matter. Workplace injuries or deaths do not only affect the worker, they affect entire families. Income loss, disrupted education for children, and increased caregiving burdens disproportionately impact women, particularly women, heads of households, and single-parent families. Preventing workplace harm is therefore a direct investment in family stability and child well-being. So from a gender perspective, this bill advances the objectives of the revised National Gender Policy 2024 to 2030 because women remain overrepresented in care work, in the service industries, in domestic work, and in informal employment. And these sectors are often facing higher occupational risks and weaker protections. So by strengthening standards and enforcement across all sectors, this bill, Madam Speaker, helps close those long-standing gaps and supports women's sustained participation in the workforce.
Following discussion, the Occupational Safety and Health Bill of 2025 was passed with amendments. Government officials say the legislation represents a major advancement in modernizing labor standards and ensuring safer, healthier working environments nationwide. The National Health Insurance Authority Bill of 2026 was presented in the House of Representatives during today's sitting, marking a significant step toward expanding and strengthening Belize's public healthcare system. The proposed legislation seeks to repeal the National Health Insurance (NHI) provisions under Part 7 of the Social Security Act and replace them with a new administrative and legal framework under a dedicated National Health Insurance Authority. The bill aims to establish the necessary mechanisms to ensure the provision of equitable, affordable, sustainable, and high-quality healthcare services to all eligible Belizeans, in line with the country's goal of achieving universal health coverage. According to the new bill, the new framework is designed to facilitate people-centered healthcare that responds to the needs of the population, while also prompting efficiency in health operations and administration. It further emphasizes sustainability through the appropriate allocation of healthcare resources to be carried out in collaboration with the ministry responsible for health. Prime Minister John Briceño, in addressing the House, highlighted the importance of the legislation in strengthening Belize's health system and ensuring broader access to essential services. He noted that the bill will allow for a more structured and accountable approach to managing NHI, ensuring that public funds are used effectively to deliver quality care.
Powerful statutory body, the National Health Insurance Authority, will be better than what presently exists. This legislation empowers the NHI Authority with several critical mandates to achieve universal coverage. It will be the sole public payer and strategic purchaser. The authority will act as a single consolidated public payer for all essential primary health services. This centralized power is not for control, but for responsibility to ensure every dollar is spent efficiently to achieve the best health outcomes for our population. It will define and guarantee a universal package of inpatient and outpatient benefits. This package will be developed based on clinical evidence, cost effectiveness, and the principle of equity, ensuring all covered services are available to every Belizean without financial hardships. The authority will contract with both public and private healthcare providers, hospitals, clinics, and professionals to deliver the guaranteed benefits. It will implement modern, transparent, and fair payment systems that rewards quality, efficiency, and positive patient outcomes. It will establish a national registry of all citizens and residents eligible for NHI coverage and manage a fair, progressive, and sustainable system for pooling government and other funds like FUI Bolido to finance this vital national asset.
The Prime Minister also announced that the passage of the bill will pave the way for the expansion of NHI services to the Cayo district. Communities slated to benefit from this extension include Benquevio del Carmen, San Ignacio, Santa Elena, Belmopan, as well as several surrounding rural communities. This expansion is expected to significantly improve access to primary healthcare services for residents in these areas. Government officials say the bill represents a major milestone in the ongoing efforts to modernize Belize's healthcare system and reduce financial barriers to care, particularly for vulnerable populations.
Madam Speaker, we feel that the full operationalization of NHI is targeted for the end of 2027. In preparing this bill, we have looked to international best practices and contemporary reforms. We have looked at areas like Costa Rica and also Uruguay, among other countries, and also in the Caribbean. Our NHI Authority Bill aligns with these modern directions by mandating 1. Price transparency and accountability, requiring clear costing and claims data from all contracted providers. Madam Speaker, what they do at the NHI, at the authority, they make sure that all of these clinics are providing the correct information. Presently, I think there are, 2 or 3 that have been penalized for not providing the right information, and they've been penalized in the thousands of dollars. And should they continue that practice, they are going to be kicked out completely out of providing the service for NHI. With drug costing control, that's the second one, drug cost control, exploring mechanisms similar to international efforts to reform pharmacy benefit managers, the BPMs, and to ensure that the NHI authority can negotiate fair drug prices on behalf of all Belizeans. Under this authority, it is a completely computerized system that the medicines that are provided to some of these pharmacies, they are controlled, they have to keep track of every single piece of medicine that is provided under the NHI. And again, there have been two pharmacists that I think that they will stop using their services because they have been overprescribing medication just so that they can, quote unquote, make the sale. That is the kind of control that we have under this service, under the National Health Insurance. And thirdly, Madam Speaker, investing in primary care and prevention, prioritizing funding for community health centers and rural health programs, recognizing that a healthy population is the foundation of a sustainable nation.
Debate on the National Health Insurance Authority Bill of 2026 is expected to continue as lawmakers review its provisions and implications for the country's health sector. Coming up next, could opposition members face charges for breaching protest permit during disruption at Belkin Bridge? We'll tell you what the Compol has to say. Stay tuned.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails. Paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
Basketball fans, the NBA season is back and more electrifying than ever.
Forever.
Witness every battle, every dunk, and every overhead and back pass with Centaur's Express Plus app. This season is a must-watch event packed with heart-stopping moments and unforgettable plays. Don't miss out. Stream all the action live on the Centaur's Express Plus app. Express Plus, your front row seat to the 2025 NBA season.
Finally, a postpaid plan for 3 people. Introducing Smart Trio. Why pay for mobile service alone when you can share and save? Get unlimited national calls, texts, plus 100 gigabytes of shared data. And the best part? It's only $135. That's right, as low as $45 per person. Perfect for small families, couples, or close friends. Smart Trio. 3 lines, 1 smart choice. Sign up now and you could win a Trio getaway to San Pedro for 3. Visit us at www.smart-bz.com for more information or sign up at any showroom today. Smart, bringing people together.
Commissioner of Police Dr. Richard Rosado today confirmed that charges may be brought against members of the opposition following a protest held on Tuesday after organizers allegedly breached the conditions of their protest permit. As previously reported, members of the United Democratic Party, the UDP, staged a protest in front of the Social Security Board as part of their continued opposition to the proposed acquisition of Belize Telemedia Limited, BTL. While acknowledging that every Belizean has the constitutional right to protest, the commissioner noted that such actions must be carried out within the limits of the law. According to Compol Rosado, the UDP had applied for and was granted a permit to protest at a designated location. However, police say protesters violated the terms of that agreement when they left the approved area and proceeded to block the Belkin Bridge for nearly half an hour.
Like I mentioned, whenever a bond is issued to protest, there are certain conditions that are stipulated, that are agreed upon by the party, by the individual or the organization applying for the permit. And based on that, there are certain steps that we must take to ensure that the conditions of the bonds are adhered to. Before, it was unfortunate that the United Democratic Party decided to breach the agreed condition of the permit, and it may have legal consequences. Our decision that day was a professional decision to ensure that we have a peaceful outcome rather than escalate to a more catastrophic use of force.
Police are reminding the public that while the right to protest is protected, it must be exercised responsibly and in compliance with the law to ensure public safety and order. In a significant stride toward rural development, the Rural Electrification Project was officially launched on Thursday, February 5th of 2026 in Indian Church Village, Orange Walk District. This milestone marks a pivotal moment in delivering reliable and sustainable electricity to underdeserved communities throughout northern and southern Belize. The project is being carried out through a collaboration between the European Union, the EU, Belize Electricity Limited, BEL, and the Government of Belize, GOB, represented by the Ministry of Public Utilities, Energy and Logistics, MPWL. Together, these partners aim to transform the lives of residents in Indian Church, San Carlos, San Benito, Halacte, and St. Vincent, fostering community empowerment, bolstering agriculture, and improving overall living standards. The initiative was set in motion in 2021 when the EU, BEL, and Light Up Belize united to secure funding for electrification projects targeting remote areas. The following year, in 2022, a formal agreement was signed between the EU and BEL with government support to officially kickstart the project. Originally envisioned as a microgrid scheme, extensive community consultations and technical evaluations revealed the greater benefits of connecting Indian Church and San Carlos directly to Belize's national grid, ensuring long-term reliability and maximum economic and social impact, all forming part of Plan Belize, says Prime Minister John Briceño.
Pero, señoras y señores, nosotros cuando empezamos en el 2020, con lo que llamamos con el Plan Belize estaba hablando sobre 5 puntos en particular: crear empleo, casa, terreno, seguridad y mantener nuestro medio ambiente. Y les quiero decir que me da mucho agrado para decir de que estamos cumpliendo casi en todo lo que hemos prometido al pueblo. Quisiera que lo pudiéramos hacer más rápido, pero también tenemos, los fondos son limitados y las necesidades son grandísimos. Pero te imaginas que tú estés viviendo toda tu vida sin electricidad. Y eso es lo que muchos no podemos entender, los que nosotros que vivimos en las áreas rurales. Así que felicito al ministro Oscar Requena y su equipo por tener un plan nacional para ver cómo podemos empezar a desarrollar las áreas rurales para que podamos estar en el mismo nivel como en las áreas urbanas. ¿Cómo se dice? La riqueza de un pueblo, de un país, está en las áreas rurales, no en las áreas urbanas. Es en áreas como acá en Indian Church y todas las otras aldeas donde se crea el dinero para Belice, los productos, los servicios, las áreas protegidas, la parte del turismo. Todo eso no lo buscas en la ciudad de Belice, ni en la ciudad ni en el pueblo de Orange Walk. Lo encuentras en esas áreas. No solo es de que estamos poniendo la luz, es donde estamos transformando la vida de esas aldeas, donde estamos pudiendo crear aún más oportunidades en esta aldea. ¿Te imaginas que tenemos unos estudiantes acá que se están estudiando doctores y ingenieros? ¿Te imaginas cuántos más pudieran hacer eso con electricidad y acceso al internet, acceso a la televisión y todo eso que les puede ayudar para que puedan aún mejorarse a ellos y a su familia y a este país?
And today we are witnessing and inaugurating this wonderful infrastructure that is going to transform the lives of our people. As was said by Don Aniceto and others, electricity brings great development and economic opportunities for our people, particularly for the children who will now be able to study at night, to turn on their computer, to do their homework. And of course, we are going to see connection to internet and other amenities that are going to benefit the children and the residents of both communities.
The inauguration also signals the beginning of household wiring efforts, an essential step to enable residents to tap into the new power supply for homes, farms, and local businesses.
So the people that live in these two villages are determined people to ensure that they live and live well, just like anybody. Today, these people are grateful. They are grateful for this achievement. And as someone mentioned earlier, the plan was not to have the villages connected to the grid. So a different small system. We say play system sometimes. But we don't play in our drug salt. We mean business. They were using household, a number of households, and this one, microgrid will work. And I said, hold on, these are not households. We are reaching to close to industrial type electricity. Right behind us, there's the biggest hotel in Drug South, probably. 3 miles north of us, we have the only center de acopio for export of cattle to Mexico that generated $12 million this year. Just 3 miles south of here, we have the only packing plant for papayas in this country. And in the very near future, with electricity now, we'll be opening a processing plant, a meat processing plant. These two villages provide 25 to 30% of the carrots grown in this country, of the onions, and the potatoes. Today, we are moving from table potatoes to industrial type potatoes from Frito-Lay. We are seeing a brighter future with this government.
Central to this project is a 10-mile interconnection to the national grid, entirely financed by BEL, complemented by electrical infrastructure funded jointly by the EU and BEL. This includes utility poles, distribution lines, transformers, street lighting, and wiring for homes, laying the groundwork for widespread electrification. Beginning October 1st of 2025 and advancing into 2026, Barbados, Belize, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines are implementing a landmark full free movement regime, allowing their citizens to live, work, and study indefinitely in each other's countries without work permits or skill certificates. This initiative, under the CARICOM revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, includes contingent rights for spouses and dependents, providing equal access to education, healthcare, and social security. Today, to formalize these arrangements, Minister of Foreign Affairs Honorable Francis Fonseca introduced the Caribbean Free Movement and Contingent Rights Bill of 2026 at the House of Representatives.
But not yet codified in law. This bill is the culmination of a regional decision taken at the 49th meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM in July last year. At that meeting, Belize, together with Barbados, Dominica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Barbados, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, was authorized to proceed with full free movement among ourselves. This mechanism allows willing member states to advance regional integration in a structured and responsible manner, while wider discussions continue within the community. Pursuant to that decision, Belize committed to begin implementation on 1st October 2025. And since that date, our immigration and border authorities have been administering the system in a secure, orderly, and efficient manner. Official reporting shows that 83 CARICOM nationals have entered under the free movement framework. These entrants have primarily been business persons, professionals, athletes, and short-term visitors. Of these, only two persons are currently residing in Belize under indefinite stay, demonstrating that the regime operates as intended without placing pressure on public services or public order.
Under the bill, Belize maintains its full sovereign authority, reaffirming its independence and autonomous governance.
The bill clearly establishes who qualifies under the free movement regime, limiting eligibility strictly to nationals of the participating CARICOM member states listed in the bill's schedule, as well as their qualifying family members. It defines key terms clearly, ensuring there is no ambiguity in interpretation or application. It grants eligible CARICOM nationals the right to enter, re-enter, reside, and work in Belize indefinitely without the need for visas, work permits, or residency permits once the prescribed conditions are met. These conditions include possession of a valid travel document, proof of address, and the means to depart if necessary. Importantly, Belize retains full sovereign authority to refuse entry or revoke rights on established grounds, including national security, public order, public health, or where an individual may become a charge on public funds. A central feature of this bill is its treatment of contingent rights. CARICOM nationals lawfully residing in Belize will enjoy rights broadly comparable to Belizeans in critical areas of daily life. These include the right to seek and engage in employment, establish and operate businesses, access banking services, education, and healthcare services. Madam Speaker, this bill is firmly grounded in the national interest. It does not weaken Belize's border controls, nor does it dilute our sovereignty. On the contrary, it strengthens our ability to manage mobility through law rather than administrative measures, preserves robust safeguards, ensures enforcement authority, and provides mechanisms for revocation where conditions are breached.
According to Fonseca, if we look at the other side of the coin, the benefits to Belizeans are tangible and significant.
It positions Belize as a leader within CARICOM, committed not only to integration in principle, but to implementation in practice. Just as importantly, it guarantees reciprocity. Belizeans will enjoy equivalent rights in other participating member states, expanding opportunities for work, study, and enterprise abroad. Very important. So if we have Belizeans out there who are interested in going to live and work, invest, open businesses in Barbados, in Dominica, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, this establishes that legal reciprocity.
At the House sitting today, Transport Minister Louis Zabane formally introduced legislation aimed at strengthening penalties for uninsured driving and empowering traffic officers with greater authority to verify insurance coverage. The proposed amendments to the Motor Vehicle Insurance Third-Party Risk Act signal a significant shift in the country's approach to road safety enforcement. Addressing lawmakers, Zabane emphasized that the penalties associated with insurance violations have remained static since 1999 and are no longer sufficient to serve as an effective deterrent. He highlighted the need for more stringent measures to combat the rising incidence of uninsured motorists on the road.
So the penalty for insurance-related offenses has remained unchanged since 1999 and no longer provides an adequate deterrent to violations under the Motor Vehicle Insurance Act. For instance, the most common offense, using a motor vehicle without insurance, currently carries a penalty of a fine not exceeding $400 or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months or both. Where any other offense is committed under the Act and no specific penalty is prescribed, Section 16 provides that the offender is liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $200 and to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 months. Accordingly, this bill seeks to amend the Motor Vehicle Insurance Third-Party Risk Act, Chapter 231 of the Substantive Laws of Belize, Revised Revision 2020, to increase the penalty for the offense of, quote, using a motor vehicle not covered by third-party risk insurance, unquote, for a fine not exceeding $400 or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months to a fine not exceeding $1,000 or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 8 months. Additionally, the bill seeks to amend the general penalty in Section 16 of the Act, increasing the penalty for the other prevalent offenses identified from a fine not exceeding $200 or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 months to a fine not exceeding $600 or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months.
Zabane noted that this bill has received the full backing of the cabinet, underscoring its importance within the government's broader road safety strategy. The proposed legislation has now been forwarded to the Public Utilities, Transport and Communications Committee for detailed review and reporting. There is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
Orange Walk, are you ready? It's the annual Bob Marley Tribute 2026 OW edition. Brought to you by Charitable Roots Foundation and powered by Vibes Alive International. Join us at the Esports Center in Orange Walk on Saturday, February 7, 2026. Gates open at 6 p.m. Come for the vibes and stay for the food, drinks, prizes, and giveaways all night long. Musical niceness by primetime DJs and selectors, including Reggae Dutch of Reggae Sundays, Father Jesse of International Vibes, David Stone of 5-Star International, Mark the Spark of System 1, and DJ Mix of Vibes Alive International. Event is hosted by Empress Mel C, guest MC Selector G, special on-stage guest Dara Robinson. Vendors, sponsors, and volunteers, contact any member of Charitable Roots Foundation for more info. This or double.
Marriage is an important life event that must be recorded at the Civil Registry Department and Vital Statistics Unit. Only the following persons are authorized to record a marriage: marriage officer, groom or bride, someone authorized by the bride or groom. What documents you'll need to record a marriage within 1 year of that marriage: the bride's and groom's ID, a proof of marriage form, and marriage register issued by the marriage officer. If recording a marriage is on behalf of someone, authorization form is needed and downloadable from the VSU's website. Only the following IDs are accepted: for Belizeans, Social Security card or passport; for foreigners, passport or national ID. The new CRVS, digitally connecting citizens to all vital statistics services. Visit crvs.gov.bz today to record your marriage.
In a significant move to propel the country's burgeoning business process outsourcing the BPO sector, the Economic Development Council, EDC, in collaboration with the Office of the Prime Minister, the Belize BPO Association, and the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry, hosted a high-profile BPO business mixer yesterday. The event drew industry leaders, government officials, innovators, and partner organizations to engage in vital discussions aimed at overcoming challenges and fostering sustainable growth in Belize's digital economy. Currently, 17 BPO companies benefit from Belize's Designated Process Area, the DPA program, providing over 9,000 jobs to Belizeans. These jobs span a wide spectrum, from young professionals and supervisors to IT specialists, quality analysts, and support staff, most of whom are youth and women. Presentations included insights into the Global Digital Services Project, funded by the Inter-American Development Bank. This ambitious initiative aims to develop Belize's digital services investment policy with a special focus on the orange economy, an emerging creative and digital sector. The project also prioritizes upskilling entry-level workers and BPO professionals to meet the rising demand for higher-value digital services globally. Bridging skill gaps is critical to ensuring Belize remains competitive on the international stage. Panelists tackled pressing issues such as modernizing Belize's Labor Act to better serve the sector, streamlining benefits and compliance under the DPA program, and improving online services through portals like My Social Security. Cybersecurity emerged as a crucial concern, with discussions emphasizing the need for collaborative efforts across sectors to combat cybercrime and safeguarding Belize's digital infrastructure. Today, the Solid Waste Management Project 2, SWAMP 2, officially came to a close, marking a significant milestone in Belize's continued journey toward a more sustainable, resilient, and coordinated solid waste management sector. SWAMP 2 stands as a successful and transformative project, delivering tangible results through improved infrastructure, strengthened institutional capacity, enhanced coordination with municipal governments, and a more strategic, data-driven approach to sector planning. The project clearly demonstrated the power of partnership, bringing together national agencies, municipal councils, development partners, consultants, and other key stakeholders around a shared vision for sustainable waste management in Belize. As SWAMP 2 concludes, the transition to ICOS signals a bold move forward, building on proven successes, expanding national impact, and integrating climate resilience and innovation into Belize's waste management framework. The open discussion highlighted a strong shared commitment among stakeholders to continuous improvement and long-term sustainability. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Monday, February 9th, here on CTV3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at www.ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/CTV3BelizeNews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Have a splendid night and have a safe and pleasant weekend.